show that we bring this show live to you today on Closing Acumen. We are pretty much today, a lot of our panelists will not be here, and we just want to do to one hour show. I was expecting the former superintendent of Montserrat County, Miss Grace Guar. Uh, we're hoping, anticipating that she'll be here today as well for this program, but she is not here yet. Uh, Hopefully, she will come on. But we just want to let you know that we're just going to be here. Uh, 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 we're just going to be here for 1 hour. Uh, uh, so we'll ask you to join us. So as we go through this, uh, thank you guys. Welcome everybody. Welcome. And so welcome. Share the show. But we looking forward. Just 1 hour we're going to be here. We'll be out here about 6:36, guys. Uh, the reason being is today is Good Friday, and some of our panelists have traveled, but just 1 hour. We're going to do a 1 hour show here for you. So I just like to read some things that are taking place in the news. Yesterday, we saw that President Salif has endorsed Ms. Edith Gongloe. Apparently, we saw a large citizen traveling and supporting uh, canvassing for Ms. Gongloe. So the race in Nima is getting hotter, heavily. I mean, it's getting hotter. So we encourage you to join us. Welcome, Abu Dukla. He's following us from Monrovia. I'm hoping that some of our reporter in Nimba will call and tell us what is going on. And so will call us to let us know what's going on. So so we are looking forward to that, and see what's happening. So hopefully Mayan Sampson will call so we can talk about the race in Lima. But just some news from Liberia. Let me bring you some news from Liberia. What's going on here? Let me just read. This is from the front page Africa. This is a report that just came up. I think it was uh, 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 Senator. Later news coming say that the truck taking the Morisaki, good to see you. Uh, Latest news coming saying that the trucks taking the election materials to Nima County have broken down. It says in Bone County, a truck transporting uh, election material for the upcoming Nima County by election has broken down early Friday evening on Bako Hill in Bone County, leaving the team stranded. So, according to Truth FM, the six-tire truck accompanied by a police escort was reportedly carrying critical voting material, including ballot papers, ahead of the highly anticipated uh, uh, by-election scheduled for Tuesday, April 22nd. The National Election Commission has yet to issue statement on the situation, so that's a concern. The ballot boxes are broken down in a very difficult area. Yamitro, good to see you. And I'm afraid these ballots, when it gets dark, uh, there's no light there, and God in heaven know uh, uh, what's what's going to happen. So this is really sad, really sad. So I hope something is done, and you don't want these kind of thing happening. When these things breaks down, people get on there and try to steal ballot boxes, and the last thing you have them voting. So guys, we I hope something's done, but latest report reaching the closing acumen by Truth FM. Would like to give Truth FM the credit. They are reporting that materials broke down en route to Lima County in a place called Bakot Town, I believe. It's Bakot Town that it broke down. So we are hoping that something will be done because this is not good for the country. Edith welcomes Saleh Sunni said Edith will win the election if it's free and fair, of course. So we look forward to see. We hope there will be a free and fair election. I mean, free and fair election. Well, you can't have ballot boxes breaking down on the highway. This is scary. When your ballot boxes and things are breaking down on the highway, it's very scary. But guys, as I said, we will have a 1 hour show today. So that let me also report here that the senator of Bakpulu County, uh, Senator Amarikone, has condemned and denounced the rising wave of tribal politics and gender biases surfacing in ongoing Nima County by election. He warned that such divisiveness threatening to derail both Liberia democratic process and Nima potential as an economic powerhouse. As Nima prepares to fill the Senate vacancy left by the late Prince Johnson, Conan stressed the urgent need for unity and issue-based campaigning. He expressed concern over the growing influence of tribal sentiments, particularly among the Gil, Mano, and Mandingo communities, as well as the sidelining of female candidate Kehleboe Gongloe. Let me just finish this. He said tribal and anti-women narrative had no place in democracy. That's still healing. That is still healing from a brutal civil war. Senator Connie said we cannot allow our political process to be hijacked by division and discrimination. He said Nima deserved better. I agree with you. You know, Nima right now it is the economic powerhouse of that region, uh, and we cannot allow it to sink into tribal politics. I read that the superintendent of Nima County, Mepek Gondo, was threatening chiefs that if they did not vote for Koga, she will not put them on the payroll or will delay their pay. I think this kind of politics is bad. Like Connor said, uh, uh, divisive, and nobody should be threatening people, officials. I think everybody, whether you work for the government or not, should not be threatened. They should be given the right to express the franchise. You cannot tell somebody because they must vote for you or because they work for the government, they are compelled to vote for somebody that the government is backing. That's not democracy at all. It's not. You are bullying them, you are threatening them, and it's totally unacceptable at this time. So I think everybody need to uh, send a message for peace in that region, that the election will be free and fair. Nobody should feel any kind of violence with the Gil, the Mano, and the Mandingo. Those people have lived alongside each other for years, and the tension that exhibited from the Civil War should not be brought back. Liberian Mandingos, equal citizen of Liberia. They have the right. Stop labeling people and calling them mandingos. Oh, this is a mandingo man. All those nonsense really, really doesn't make sense. It does not. To label your own citizen, people who were born there. Oh, he's a mandingo man. Oh, he's this. Those things make no sense. It carry us nowhere. It only divide us as a nation. People, it divides us. And having this tension, all of that, we should be able to live together in one accord. As brothers and sisters. So I think it will only be fair if we talk against that. And I'm calling on everybody, even the senators. I'm hoping that even on this time, the president of Liberia will come up and just say something in regards to that. Call on all the Liberian citizens to go about the duty. Call on them to ensure that the election will be free and fair. But we cannot preach this party politics or Mandingo. Now we're bringing Dio against Mana just for a simple senatorial seat, and they are the same people from the same county. And you try to bring the division among them. I don't think it's fair. Liberians don't deserve this. Liberians have not even recovered from the civil war. You go there. I mean, I was just in Liberia 3 weeks ago, and I can show you some photos where Liberians were really struggling. They were struggling. Only the few that probably not have government jobs are the ones that are enjoying this, claim that it's their time and they can live. But the majority of Liberians are suffering. You ask me, how do I know? I was there. I went to the villages and I encountered people, and our people have totally been dragged into becoming real beggars. I'm telling you, serious beggars. I mean, you hardly pass one a layman without them asking you for money. You go to the restaurant, the security up there is begging you when you come back in. Don't forget us. You walk in, and it's just bad. And I don't blame them because they don't have a job. They have nothing to do, and that only means some of them getting $1, $2 a day, or $5 a day will feed the family. So but it's very bad. So we don't need to preach that part of politics. We just need to show that Liberians are together. We can be good friends. We can be great brothers and sisters if we just allow everybody to be in this space. I don't have to vote for you, but yet and still you can still be my brother. I criticize you, you can still be my brother. So for all my Christian brothers and sisters, I want to wish you a happy Easter, and praise God blessing. Liberians, Mandingo, Gio, Mana, Kra, they are all citizens of Liberia. But what's drawn my attention is I know the superintendent of NIMA, Miss Gongloe, to be somebody who's uh, uh, you know, I don't know about that or setting, but let's try to do away with this ignorant thing, you know. But what I'm learning is it's sad that Mepe Gonu, who I know to be very sound, a very nice lady, very smart, doing a great job in Nimba. I'm afraid that she will entangle herself with these kind of crazy politics, and that will, I mean, limit or bring her down. Her accreditation. I mean, I have a lot of respect for Bebe Godo. Uh, 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 she's doing a great job in Lima. I have a respect because she's a female as well, and doing a great job. There's not a lot of female there, and in the senatorial race and all of that. But maybe they should not be trying to put women down. Nobody should do that. I mean, you cannot be trying to put the women down and threatening people. You have done well in Nimame, but you've done an excellent job. I admire your work, but you can't be putting women down. You can't do that, and you can't be threatening people to just for a by election. That if they don't vote, they're not going to get the check. That's the story we are getting. Or you're not going to put them on payroll. If that's the condition to put them on payroll, that they have to vote or they have to get their chieftaincy, the area to vote before you put them on payroll. I think it's wrong. It's very, very wrong, and this should not be happening. Uh, uh, so you know, so I think it's wrong. Nothing like that should happen, especially for you, who have worked so hard, have been in an international community, and you know what democracy is, you know what their right to vote is, uh, but you cannot interfere with their rights and the choice on who to select as president here. That, I mean, as senator in my county, it's just a by-election, So I don't think that should happen. The violence must stop. The threat must stop, and these people must be given the opportunity. Let's have a free and fair election, because if that election doesn't go well, it's going to be bad. Today, we expected to have this former superintendent of Monterey County, Ms. Grace Pond. She was going to come here for 1 hour to talk about the arrest order, that they have ordered her arrest of her, Christy Pond, in connection with an alleged illegal demolition of two private residences on Bushra Island. So I don't know, but it made headline, and she had reached out to us. She wanted to come and talk about, disprove what was being said by her and the arrest and all those things. Uh, Said that the area that she demolished is worth about what 200,000 dollars, which is very sad. But as we continue, I'd like to inform. I hope I can find that from Reverend Tapla about the free music program that they're going to be offering for parents. So if you live in Philadelphia, uh, 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 if we live in Philadelphia, you can have the opportunity for a child to get free music lesson, and that is offered by the Ebenezer Community Church in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. But they're going to extend it here to Philadelphia to get free music, two guitar lessons for the children. So okay, Mrs. Pond is here, I believe. We need to bring her on. I can see her in the back for the next 1 hour. But we want to bring her on for at least the next 1 hour before we leave. We'll be here for 1 more hour. And I see Mrs. Pine in the back, so I want to bring her on right away so we can start this whole thing. Former Superintendent Grace Steve Pine, it's good to see you.
How are you, sir?
I am well. I'm well. She's a former vice presidential candidate to Clarence Moniba. This is Grace. Welcome again to the closing argument, and it's good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome. Today we just having a special edition just for 1 hour, and we're glad that you made it to come on.
Okay.
There has been uh, this news going around that the court issued an arrest warrant for you from Monserrato, for your arrest because they allege that you illegally demolished some home for some folks that were valued $241,000 and all of that. But I'm glad you are here, and I really want you to speak to it now so we can let's talk about this, Mrs. Bond.
Okay, so thank you for affording me the opportunity, Mr. Peabody, and I appreciate this very well. In 2008, my but before 2008, anyway, I got a piece of property from my aunt, which is Gertrude McGill Finley, and by way my maiden name is McGill, so obviously she's my aunt, and we couldn't use this piece of property because every time we went there was this confusion and hauling and pulling. And being the kind of person I am, I thought the best way to do is to seek the court. So I went through the court process. She gave me almost like an acre that I bought from the family. I got from the family, and we decided to go and do some construction. It didn't work, so we went to the court. Long story short, let me fast forward it. This case has been on since 2008. The very first lawyer on this case was former Justice Nangwe, and we have been on this battle for the last 17 years. So after we finally won the case, I talked with the rest of the family members on the Finleys, and I said, look, the best alternative right now is just let's sell this property, and let it go, because these people have built on the entire land.
Mm-hmm.
And we went through the process trying to talk to them. They refused. They kept, putting off, dragging. I went to get police to just clear them off the land through the courts, and the police rather they said at the time, President, we are and have instructed that nobody signs any stuff for eviction, because it was nearing elections, so we weren't given that opportunity. So then later on, I went to Minister Musa Dean and said, look, the family really want to sell the property. Please, now be a good thing. There's a section of the Ministry of Justice called the ADR, Alternative Dispute Resolution. We went there, got them involved. They went on the land with the land administrator, the police, called the community meeting, the community chairperson, the governor, everybody. We had a meeting back and forth. They said, okay, let's find out, let's see the border point. Romans fast travel faster than truth. So they decided to say, oh, Manakwan said she owned from Douala Street to St. Paul Bridge. Well, everybody got crazy and things started to go helter skelter. So in 2023, when the people agreed to go and show the points for the borders of the land, they had, at the time, 2023 was nearing elections. So then Mr. Edward Ford was also running and decided to incite them and say, look, once I win, if you vote for me and I win, she will not take the land because it's not hers. So it was a whole different ballgame, a whole different story. Everybody went helter skelter with placard, my picture, my name. I was to national fast and prayer because I wasn't the one going to show them anyway. They had a board of arbitration on the land authority and the courts, and that board had investigated, gotten the points and all of that, so they could rule finally in our favor. Then we kept backing them, talking to them, appealing to them. Some of them agreed. If you see the report, I think I sent all of those documents, and they just started to drag it. So when we finally sent the police, got the police, because we had to write the police, they gave us police. The court wrote for police. They gave us police. They gave us sheriff. We got there. Former pro tem Ahmad Jallah was also on the land. He said, look, Grace, your cousin told me this many years ago when we were in the Senate, but we are willing to, negotiate and talk about it. So I said, okay, withdrew the machines that we pay for, withdrew everybody. Let's come to the table and talk. They refused, but those who saw the mission afterward and decided to start coming, wanted to get into an agreement with the family. And at the end, just maybe 4 or 5 houses, they didn't come forth. So we finally went there on Saturday with, in fact, the court has given us the police, the sheriff, and everybody. I would go on our land with one yellow machine to go bring somebody down in this Liberia where everybody is so that kind of way. And we touched a few houses, and it went wow. There's only 2 persons that I know that in the very front of the land that refused to come and sign an agreement with the family. So all of a sudden, I'm home. I see this thing on Facebook, rate of arrest. I'm like, I'm seeing my rate of arrest on Facebook. Where did they go? They go to city court, get a rate of arrest on a person who has a legitimate document from the courts, from the civil law court to evict people. So I said, okay, then I will go. On my way going, I bought up with this. One lady came to my gate and said, she a sheriff, she got real arrest for me. I said, get in the car, let me drive you to the court. So we got there. My lawyer came, they argued, and we left. Now, I mean, surprisingly, my question, because I went back to the judge afterwards. I said, my question is, do you send writ of arrest and give it to journalists to put on air to just, hide people pride, the character, the image, and the rest of it, or should the person be served? Because people are not served on Facebook, on the international or social media. You send a rate and everybody went, wow. Grace Pan is a household name. Will be arrested, and they took my young days bluffing picture and put it on Facebook as a person that was arrested. So they got the whole thing mixed up. This society that is so gullible, people think anything and just run with it without thinking. I think this is bad. I have planned to write the Chief Justice that clerk in the courts should not be giving documents to journalists before even serving. Nothing wrong with serving me if you think I committed a crime. At the end of the day, I have a lawyer. I got document from the court, and those documents will defend me, and they did at the end of the day. But my point here is people are so gullible, and the society we are in is so terrible, and people just take news and run with it just like that. So in a nutshell, I think that's the major issue. So listen to the social media, you hear the next thing you hear, oh, she broke the place down in Congata. The place in Congata is not even mine. I think of former mayor Grace Manor property. There's a place the demolishing looking at, oh, Grace Manor broke it. I mean, it's like, so I told one journalist, I said, you change the word NEWS to Grace Manor. You can say the news or the Grace Manor is read by John Brown, and people know that's news. Because people think they take everything political and try to play with people's lives and character. Many families fled this country, left their properties back. People who are taking caretakers and things took over the people's property and think that they shouldn't get justice. I think this is unfair.
All right. Welcome, Hamid. Welcome. According to the complaint, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you now.
Okay. According to the Front Page Africa newspaper, it said, according to the complaint, the incident occurred on Saturday, April 12th, 3:30 p.m. in the tech community, a residential area on Bourgeois Island. It said the demolished home owned by an individual identified as Magu and Madame Agnes were reportedly valued at $241,000. Do you know those people?
Well, I won't know that 9.2 acres of land you are talking about. I won't know everybody who's on the land, but I know the two houses that in the front, very front, a house and a half, a little makeshift place and a house, unfinished house, were demolished. So I'm sure they are the people that are involved, because when I got out of the court, I saw one of the guys who claimed that the property was theirs.
Wow. And they said that, and you were others. Let me ask you before how many here were asking to chime in as well. But what is the issue of this land? Why does this land, the property, remain an issue in Liberia? It's a lot of issue, a lot of cases, people going back and forth in court for this property. Why?
I think the reason is because nobody wants to follow the law. I'll give you a few short scenarios. We bought a piece of property many years ago, before even 2006, when they were building this new how do you call it, Jake Milton's bridge, what we call the Garguah bridge. We own the property just right down there. That's our church property. After everything was done, the former representative at the time said that he wanted to build a police station. So I said, well, the bridge, where the bridge is now is where our church was. That building was demolished. The remaining land is ours. It was a whole fight. They broke down our church in this country. There was no news about it. We didn't fuss about it. We didn't fight. We went through government. We appealed. president was then vice president, and he ordered them that, what they did was wrong, blah, blah, blah. That one died off with nothing. But we still went on our land. We took all our land and we, constructed our church. So then we have another piece of property that the former President Sirleaf's mother, Martha Johnson, owns in Kauai. Surprisingly, she gave us 3 lots. Do you know, Mr. Peabody, we went on that land to do a piece of job. One Umaru sheriff came and ran the children away with a gun. He had, yes, and with cutlasses, took their phone, their bag, destroyed everything. We took it to the police station. By the grace of God, the police director was rapid in responding and said that he should be arrested. So the guy is on the run. The problem here with land in this country is nobody wants to persecute anybody. Too many people are familiar with the criminals. So you got people just all around selling people property and they go free. They go scot-free. Nobody says anything to them. Nobody does anything to them. But you who go through the court and get justice, that when people think that, oh, you owe somebody something. And the issue of land can be resolved, though. It can be resolved. I remember when I was superintendent, we tried to resolve a particular issue. And there's one guy who was a chief in Todi. He had all this land, was his, So I told him, I said, look, call your children who went to school to say, I said, bring all your papers. We sat right to the table. I took the paper, I read it, I gave it to the child who could read. I said, read this thing to your father. So government land, unencumbered, blah, 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 blah. But this was just like, you give somebody an invoice and say, in 30 days, you can process this through the requisite government institution, and the land, the government will sign, the president is supposed to sign the deed. All these documents they have, no president has signed, they just had an invoice, sent 19 who, and they claimed the land was theirs. And I was able to resolve that matter. The reason why these issues are not resolved, because people have, number one, they're looking for a job. They're just looking for where they can hustle and find their daily needs, but they are not interested in solving problems. The land issue, the archives have been tampered with. I'll tell you, there's a case right now. Last night, 116. And I administer a lot of property. Most of my families are not here. All the properties are in my care. So everybody say, Grace Man only hold a Liberia. Well, of course, they are free to say because they don't know. I owe them no explanation. 116 last night. The children called me. There's a property we have in Louisiana. People are building the fence and the case is in court. That one land, they have shown 4 deeds in the court. It's in the document, 4 different deeds. Your father died 1944, but he gave you land 2015. Shouldn't nothing be thrown out? The land authority has some criminals over there who tried to investigate, and at the end of the day, they got us knocking heads and fighting first. But I will wait until the court rule in my favor again. Then I'm going to take possession. If they win, they go their way. It's no fight. We should learn to respect the law. But nobody wants to respect the law. The criminals that are stealing people's land are protected in these processes. They go to the archives, they pull up people's documents, they change it, they do all kinds of things. Until the land authority, the courts get more serious about this situation. Or someone could go and say pro bono as consultant to scrutinize some of these deeds because sometimes the court doesn't have the time to go through all of this.
Yeah, because the problem, let me just one more. The problem here is a lot of people have been burned. I have come across a lot of people who have shared with me that they bought land, and when they went to the land, somebody else have been encroaching on that land. Some of those land that people buy, they have been sold 2 or 3 times to different people.
Oh, yeah.
And people are struggling to get it.
And not to tell you, there's a law for criminal conveyance that you're supposed to go to court for, go to jail for 10 years. Nobody sends anybody to jail. There's a whole listing from the land authority for people who are land criminals. Nobody persecuted. You see why they are building a new redemption hospital? When I was superintendent, we ensured that our land was gotten for government. We went through the process of paying people. By the time we left the same people came back and they paid them for the second time. We have to be strong and be able to do what is right so that people justice can be done. This culture of impunity lives on, and that's the problem.
That is totally unfair. But let me bring my friend in. If you are joining us, guys, we're having a special 1 hour edition of the Closing Argument. We have the former superintendent of Monserrato County, former vice presidential
You only that
candidate
one.
to
I know, right?
yeah, to Dr. Clarence Momalu. I mean Clarence
Money,
Moniba.
money,
Yes,
yeah.
but there was a recent report in the media that Mrs. Pan was being arrested for taking a
Imagine.
demolishing a property that cost $241,000, and Ms. Pan have come to actually clear her name on that report that went to social media and I went to the news and all of that. But we're talking about the issue of land, and the fraud that is involved in the sale of land in that country. But let's go to Hamid. Hamid, probably you want to share something or you have a question.
Well, it's nice having you, Madam Superintendent. It's been a long
Thank you.
time, but good to see
Yeah.
you. Happy
So maybe,
Easter.
maybe the other got me in the air because you get me for a long time. So
But it's good to see you. I mean, it's quite unfortunate that
yeah,
you may be coming back in the news for something that you now consider untrue. However, the subject matter, I think, is something that we need to discuss as a country.
right.
It's unfortunate that up to this point in time, the 21st century, that this issue of land fraud, land falsification, and seizing of land continue to be a major issue in our country. I mean, at least in your case today, you are able, the news is able to live up the story to some extent. You are able to pursue justice either for you or those who also claim. But many people in the republic may not have similar, spotlight on them, and it could not be an
Right.
issue. So
Right.
if we cannot resolve this thing within the next uh, 5 to 10 years, most of
It
those
would be
who own
terrible.
land, most of those who own land now will be turning it over or will be gone, and so it will be most of the land will eventually be what we call inherited properties, and so
Right.
of course, I mean, can you imagine what that would be when when most of the people in court will be discussing about, oh, I accumulated the land from my father, my grandfather, and this, so it's going to be a whole mess. So I hope that we can take it serious. And what is even surprising is that we came from the ACA system to the land authority with the hope that by this time, a lot of sophistication, a lot of commitment would have been put in place in ensuring that, some of these issues are resolved, particularly about people who in the habit of, reselling land. That's highly criminal. And sometimes those people, sometimes you get one man all over the place in one community, he sold almost all the land. He alone just there with
And he
all the
doesn't live in the
deeds.
people. He lives somewhere else.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so
He
I
doesn't
think
live on
it's
the land he's selling. He lives somewhere else renting. Hmm.
I think we need to drive a serious national conversation in this direction, and hopefully one day, I hope the closed argument can invite the land authority itself to provide better awareness and explanation in this direction. Other than that, it's unfortunate. So that's all I just wanted to add, and we look forward to your situation being adjudicated so that at least the truth can come
Well,
out.
no, it's done already. It's just their own allegation, and I don't even want to call it allegations. Their own wrong because we offer these people for 3 solid years. We have been behind them. Come and rebar, come and rebar, come and rebar, and just two persons will come out to go say they want they own a place cost 2 million, 200 and something $1,000. I can assure them they won't get a dime. Because if the court gave me my rate of possession, I got it in 2022, I got it in 2024, I got it in 2025. And the courts gave me the authority to get police. They wrote, as a matter of fact, the court writes the police. And let me just tell you something important. When my rate of possession was finally signed, they didn't even give me a copy. You know when I got a copy? After they went on the land and did what everything they could have done, then the sheriff gave me a copy. Why would somebody just go to the court, get one rate of arrest, flash it on Facebook, and the next day it's news? The court has to be careful with how they deal with this situation. Because if somebody come and say, "Oh, Mr. Peabody or this person did something to me, you just send radar arrest. I thought you should summon the person first. When the person refuses, I mean, we are citizens and we have rights, man. Come on. Then you can send for them by rate of arrest. But other than that, we're all even asking, verifying, calling, especially I'm a citizen of this country more besides a former official. So you can't just go say radar arrest for this one because somebody said she broke. Yellow mission gets to nuclear era where you won't even where the day they posted they're going to show the border points, they took the whole street with checkers, placards, yellow mission will go there and will let it flow. This is so unacceptable, and
You
we
know,
have to change the way we do things.
Mrs. Bond, you've been a former superintendent before. How do you change it? I mean, it's prolific. It's like it's rotting. It's everywhere. I mean,
To the
people.
core. Yes. So these are a few suggestions I could make. Every lawyer in this country must the first thing some of the people they don't care, they just look. Just imagine people paying little or nothing for a piece of land, and we offer that they can pay over a period of 2 years. You leave that kind of offer, pay a lawyer maybe 3,000-4,000 dollars to go where you could have used that money to pay a land, buy a land, get change. But you prefer paying a lawyer to go do this to yourself. At the end of the day, you can't come and appeal to us now. That particular spot won't give it to you. We give it to
Right.
somebody who deserves it and who needs it. This thing needs to stop. So if we have maybe a fast track code for land, one thing I'm happy for that it didn't give the land authority the power to finally adjudicate cases because I tell you there are people in that place that are criminals. I
Yeah.
mean, when we call it acquisition, I can prove that there are criminals there. I got the records, I got the names. It didn't take me to anywhere it hurts. I don't even care because this is the time that we need to stand up for what is right and what is just. Someone like, you Christian, you pastor, you do that. I said when Jesus entered Jerusalem, there were yellow mission at the time. He will come to use it instead of using your whip because
Right.
people will always be stubborn. You don't
Yeah.
come on people family estate and just say, oh, because you're Christian, so you must let it go. Let who go? The criminals?
Yeah.
They won't be appear to court. The people who hijack power, who burn billion, capital billion, and burn share, you didn't send radar arrest for them.
Yeah.
This is totally unacceptable. We should stop this kind of foolishness in Liberia. You go to the archive, somebody finish plucking somebody whole document. There's a guy who sued us one time. And one thing I do, I keep once the lawyer got copy, I got copy. I keep copy of every piece of document. Went to the court to look for that document. It's nowhere to be found in the court in the Republic of Liberia. Nowhere that document can be found, but I got my copy because he sued me. You see, so we have to find a way, get a fast track code, get people who are passionate about this thing, and make sure you don't put up crooks and people who are just hustling for few dollars to go there and start destroying it. All those documents in the archive now should be automated. They should put it, get some system and put it into it. The township commissioners and local authorities should also help. But these are very people that will be selling the people property as well. Oh, they may want, yeah, and, during the time the war, he doesn't come out here. So they face some kind of fake deed. They start selling the people property all around. If
That is
anybody comes, oh, yeah, you own my property or your church own my property, I said, yeah, this is an easy matter. We can call the land authority in. We can go to the various requisite institutions, verify these documents. If we are at your mercy. Other than that, other than that, we 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 beg you to say, look, give it to us or rebuy. If you say no, we leave it. Why people don't want to go through the court? And this is the place where you get your final verdict. When you said they won't be fighting, taking classes. If you own a property, you go there 1 o'clock in the night to be built. Why?
nope.
It's
Nope.
sad though. I don't know what other word to use, but this is so wrong. And I think the president needs to get involved. For me, I could work for them pro bono. I don't have to be paid for it because I can look at a deed and look at the history of the land. Look at all you see some of the signatures. Somebody writes CSS at the signature, but it never show it clear. It will never be clear. You will never see the original to that document. They
Mm.
just fake and forcing, and at the end of the day, it's out there. Then you stand in court forever. 15 unbroken years. We took 2 years to beg these people. 15 years. Then somebody stands there and say they're going for rate of arrest. The only best way they could do it was to put it on social media.
Yeah. That. That is sad though. I mean, it's very very sad. Especially when the people who should be enforcing the law are the most corrupt in that place, in the office. So you can't get any fair thing because Liberians abroad are afraid to go home to buy land
Yeah.
because you don't know,
You buy 3, 4, 5 times.
yeah, and you stop building and somebody come out again and say, hey, this person just sold me, I own this land, and then they run back to the Aka aware, and they go back and somebody
They got
probate
people
there.
there. They will go there, take your document off. I'll give you one story, but I won't call the person's name because this person did a pretty good job. We got there's the particular land I'm talking about that they're building on in the night. They had brought this deed of 30 acres. Went to the archives. The archive gave a letter of non-discovery and also added in that letter that the page and volume number that was written on that deed does not even exist in the archive. It gets to land authority. It gets to land authority. And I will call it in this trip. Mr. Paul Tubble, he works for the land authority, sat there and criminally connived with those people. And at the end of the day, they say, oh, the people won the case. Gave them one report that was not even signed. They took the unsigned report and go sue at the court.
Hmm.
We received the document and they all my criticism of the document, sent it back to them, wrote the land authority. I walked endlessly, endlessly. In the dime minute, they went when the family that we bought the property from decided to do or went to the archives and found that the document was mutilated, but they had a card. Let's do a resurvey. Pay for the resurvey. The resurvey was never done, but Paul and whoever else involved had gone to go to the then one of the land commissioners to go and reprint a deed for the people to extend the land from 30 acres to 36 acres. Your pa died 1944, resurrected 70 something years after that in 2015 and gave you a land, and you attach that foolishness and send it to the court. I couldn't be your judge for one day. I couldn't be your judge for
Wow.
one day. I said, these are documents that are in my very possession. And I can stand there and tell to the face. Then the little girl got a ghost to in the night, 1 o'clock to be building place. And every time she does it, I call the police. Every time she tries it, I call the police. Why am I calling the police? Because I cannot take the law in my hand. I must wait until the law say, now you are free. They brought in the investigative survey. The survey has been done. The report in court. Now neither her grantor wants to go there. So I got to now pursue the court because I want justice.
Hmm.
One land, 3 persons have sued for that one land. All the documents are false. It got no bearing. They have tried to manipulate the system. And those people who are head of those institutions need to make sure that they have competent qualifier and people who are serious about the situation of changing the issue of forging people's signatures and doing stuff around here.
How
So
many? How many you
I
want
just,
to?
yeah, I just
Give me.
wanted to focus on the surveyors who it is understood that they are lessons, and 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 and, and I think your lessons either come into question when you are involved in surveying land that have some. I think surveyors too should play some part in terms of what they survey, what they signed on, and all of those things, so that you are not perhaps surveying a land that you already know might either been surveyed before. I think there's some requirement of due diligence expected of surveyors who are less or something like that. Is that the case? If
Yeah,
you have an idea.
surveyors, almost all the surveyors have the license. Once you have been satisfied by the land authority, you have a license. So you go out there and do the survey. And I'm telling you, we went for one of the investigative survey. This was not a surveyor. The very guy who was taking supervising the case was the one moving cornerstone. No, move this. I say I'm talking fake photos that I have. Move the stone from here, put it so. So now after he moved the stone, rule in the people's favor, all the land for them, they won the case, da 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 da. He never signed document. So there they have dressed the cornerstone back to the original place it was, and just creating all kinds of burden for people. Look. You know, I told people, I say, you see what Obi did in this country, it was because he couldn't get justice. Some of them may have the patience to work for 15 and 17 years. Some people just don't. Some people give up in the process. Some people just die before they can even reach that point. And this is so unfair, you know. Many friends and family members, oh, you got to see about our land. Oh, you got to see about our land. I got a whole bag full of deeds of family people, land, and property that I'm running behind. It's just so unbearable when you see some of the deeds that come against these deeds. You know very well that that's nobody's signature on it. They will take time to draw your signature. You can see the drawing. If I were a judge or a lawyer, I would tell you, look, my brother, you won't win this case. But instead, they say, my man, go find something quick, and bring it. Bring a taxing file, we'll start the process. Don't worry, the case, you will win it. And giving those kind of promises, so the people get hope. But if you tell you, say, look, my man, this deal you got, I will do due diligence on it and get back to you. Yeah, at the end of the day, your deal got X, Y, Z errors, and we don't think it's legal. I don't want to be a lawyer. Well, who encouraged
Yeah,
him and start from there?
you know, you said something very interesting, Ms. Bond. How long can one keep fighting for these things?
Yeah,
You may not have the energy at all the time to do it.
exactly. People getting
Uh,
old.
yeah, exactly. You know, God forbid today or tomorrow you gone. People will say, "Oh, the one that owned the place, she passed or something happened, or she's sick." They'll come again and start encroaching. Our people are very stubborn because we don't have any laws that would rather punish them when they are doing things like this.
No,
So
the
they will
laws are
continue.
there. The people just don't want to implement them. You know, the
Yeah,
laws are there. The guy criminal conveyance for 10 years. If you're a surveyor, you mess with your license by doing the wrong kind of survey. There's also punishment. If even if you are a landowner and you sold the land to me and sold it to somebody else, there's also a punishment for that. But
yeah,
who wants to implement it? They drill you to that place. They will take you from, I mean, just one day after the other, with no redress.
that is sad. Look, I was just in Liberia about 3 weeks ago, and I was trying to somewhere we're trying to build a center in Bassa in the Orange Grove area. And I'm from that area. We had a lot of land all over that place. But I tell you, when I went back now, I can't even
Hmm.
find it because
Hmm.
But some of the reason your family member to sell those land behind you, and
Exactly.
you go
But
to.
under the law now, listen now, under the law, they have no right to sell it because they are not the owner.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? My aunt, the late Marvina McGill, she had a piece of place in Jallah. She had people living on that land, squatting on it. She get in because they had nowhere to stay. My aunt died. There were three persons that were there. Two of the persons said, look, we live here all these years. We know this motto to only take care of our land. Our children have done well for us. So when my sister went to court, my sister was handing that case and telling what to me. They moved. The other woman saw she not moving. She said for her, because she got squatter rights. Squatter right is renewable. It's every year. Even if you claim that you have squatter rights. So they need to know what squatter right is. They need to know who owns the land. And I cannot go there and sell even my daughter's land. I have to process document on her behalf. There should be some affidavit or something to show that okay, I'm representing her before I even give her land to somebody. But you can't just go sell your family land. Or something is family thing that they got talk their family way and y'all leave it, you know that back on be back on bank on long time.
I think this issue of
I
quarter
know,
right,
and I know. Yeah, go ahead.
quart, yeah, I think this issue of quarter right or that approach, I think it has also contributed to a
A
lot of
lot of
land
problems.
crisis.
A lot of
So
problems.
there is this perception, and you being a former superintendent involved with it, like,
Mhm.
I think it'll be helpful to make some clarification. There's this perception that when a person has squatted on the land for a certain number of period,
Outright possession.
he or she tend to eventually evolve some right to ownership of the land,
Outright
or
possession.
or or if the owner of a land has a land that's been over a decade or so without any form of development, he or she tends to have some technical forfeiture of the land. What is the situation around that?
Well, I think what people should be doing if you're putting somebody on your land, you should go through a written agreement, sign it, and document it so that tomorrow they can come and say, oh, our year and blah blah blah. So the land is not mine. I think according to the law, if I'm not mistaken, it should be 20 years if somebody stays on the land for that length of time. But if somebody gives you a piece of property to take care of, that's a different situation. You cannot be claiming people property if they give it to you as a caretaker. Most of the caretaker, what they did, they went into creating deeds. And how some of them created these deeds, they went to through some of the very townships, because the township will say, okay, all those who live in the township should come and register the deed. Now, what protection do I have if I register my deed in a particular township? You know, they take the document, they expose it to everybody. Then the person go there, they connive with these people. They go there, look back, did the year. But what they don't realize that is not possible is that if you are counting from 1 to 10, in my documents on page 10 in 1990, you can come in 2025 and your document is page 8. So those are critical things for to look at. How did a document in 2025 on page 8 when the person in 1990 is on page 10? Those are some of the nuances that people don't pay attention to, but it should be noticed. You see, and those are things you can check on the signature, the year, some of the signing date. The latest one, the ones that are claiming that property down there, he said he bought from the property was actually owned by D2F, and D2F gave it to his children. So Muna 2F Steven gave it to my auntie and uncle. They bought from her. Then the guy who is claiming that place, one coon, is saying that he bought from Mary Sompo, and Mary Sompo writes on most of the deed. Whether 2F name is misspelled all along. Like you said, John Brown get a property to Peter Paul, but in the end, John Brown get Moses there as his name. All those kind of things, you should notice it. I got all the documents. I can send in any court, you can take me to the Hague, I will defeat them in that process. So Mary Sompo and Willard Tue gave deed. I got deed with Willard Tue's signature. Because when D2 divided his property, all his children, he gave them deed. And when people were giving the thing to Finlay, they gave Finlay all the deeds.
Wow. But I think you seem to have a lot of knowledge when it comes to the land, when it comes to the deed. A lot of people don't. Like me, I don't even know this thing when I go. Like I said,
if you're saying call 15 years, Mr. Peabody, the only thing missing from the court now is my blanket and my pillow.
You seem to have a vast knowledge on these kind of things. But as I said, when I went to Liberia 3 weeks ago, there's a dude that has sold almost all the land. I mean, I had to start looking for land to buy again when all the family property land was sold. When you ask the other relatives, I don't know, and and it's really sad that some people just sit there to make the money and just they don't care.
They will do nothing for that money. Just watch all of them who sell those land. They have done nothing substantial for themselves. They live just like people who never had $5 before. Because what they did, imagine you sell somebody land for 200, 300. Some of the people over there who complain they don't even have deeds. 200 years, and there is no road. Even bicycle can pass between some of the houses. Somebody who owns his land will sell land like that. Even at that, after every acre, there should be a space, a walk, or right away, or what you ever call it, roadway for people to pass. But no space at all. Even the former pro templates when they go put the people out. I think the former pro templates have got to in our place, they didn't want to move.
So what is your suggestion to the government? What do they need to do to register? I talked to a lawyer one time, and he said that one of the most difficult cases to fight is the one that had to do with property, land, and things like that.
It's difficult because, Mr. Peabody, they don't do that due diligence. When I was superintendent, there was a particular lady who owned a piece of land, and this person was working in the office of the president and wrote a letter to the lady on the executive marshal letterhead. As the superintendent, I wrote him. I said, this is an abuse of power. You do not write your personal letter for your private property on the letterhead of the executive marshal. And I mean, I had to take it seriously. Today, that lady has her land. Somebody was directing a piece of property that we own and referring it. The lawyer writes me, you own so person property. I said, have you gone to see the property you're talking about? I said, I know that lady land very well because I helped her to make sure what was right was hers. Then today you come claim that the lady is in cover, I'm in Louisiana. I said, please don't do this to me. And I dealt with that lawyer very well. They do not due diligence, though. They don't send anybody from the office. You don't send people to do a reconnaissance, check on the land, get the land history, ask questions.
The lawyer want to get his money quick. They all want to do it.
They don't check on anything. Whenever I have a case, I sit down, go through that deed one by one. I check, go through the archive. I go everywhere. If I see a red light, I say, they one doesn't work, so there's no need. And you explain. But you will take that person money from them in the name that you're fighting for them when you know you won't win that case. Sometimes they know they don't win the case. But look, I can't let anyone pass me. When you check your number of client for land, they 10, they charging you $3,000 each. You know how much you get, brother?
Right. Wow. But
Yes.
Hamid, you want to share something? And then we got 30 minutes, 25 more minutes, as I said, with today
Well,
tonight. We're not going to be on, but if you want to share something, and then I will try to bring the former superintendent, your former politician, so I don't think it's wrong after any political question for now. But go ahead, and then I will come in and ask a political question.
yeah, I think basically, I mean, all I would say is that the issue of the land continues to be a major problem in the country. We tend to overlook it now, but can you imagine, like I said, if most of those who are third generation, second, third generation of the land, and then by the time you go to the fourth and fifth generation, do you know the amount of
It's like the wall.
problem we're going to have? So if we cannot strengthen it now and get it right at this time, particularly so, and the scary part about it now is that people go to take these things in their hand. They don't even revert to court or authority. They want to go on the land, take collectors. They, I mean, so it's still, I mean, for a very long time, I'm sure you remember the situation I was in the Clarendon era about some kind of land, kind of stuff. So, you know, but I think there is something we can't continue to ignore for real, for real. We need to. And what is even funny is that how can the land authority not be surprised? You still talking about writing paper on page and all this kind of stuff in the book laws. I mean, how serious is that? We can't get. I mean, that technology should be so land should all land should be with numbers and attached. People who get land re-register and put it there so that by the time you go say the land from Carway, at least there should be some form of information that will pop up. These things are not difficult, to be honest with you. And I think to some extent it's there, but that corrupt behavior where, of course, people go to the courts, people take surveyor, people take lawyer, some of whom will be aware that, look, this thing, there's nothing there. And as you ever said, they rather put the people through confusion, get some money from them, say they will solve their problem, walk away, don't resolve that issue, and let it continue. So, I mean, I just hope, and you got the land authority, you got the public works that deal with zoning, you get the archives. So with all those three different bureaucratic institutions, then the court, I think there should just be an intentional, purposeful commitment to getting these things resolved, particularly so in areas urban areas. I mean, just imagine we cannot resolve urban issues that at least we have
Mm.
some semblance of courts, some semblance of authority. So just imagine what will happen perhaps in rural areas, even though oftentimes those people the traditional land, traditional, but as the country improves, as time goes, the issue of traditional land cannot 100% suffice. We must have some
Exactly.
legal instruments
Exactly.
to adjudicate as the country improves, as the country expands, as the population increases. Those things will not be sufficient to validate ownership for land. So we need to start to work and get it right, you know. And I think we need to make this a serious national conversation. A
Yeah.
serious national conversation.
I agree. It needs to be. They need to call a national forum to
Yeah.
address
Yeah.
this land
Right.
issue.
Right.
National forum. The government need to do that. It's very important. But former superintendent Bond, let me ask you. There's a major by-election taking place in Nimba today. In fact, the lady running, there's a female in the race, and there are others.
In the bungalow where?
Yes, the only female. She was superintendent. You were superintendent before,
Yeah.
and she was
At the
former
same time.
superintendent as well. So, what I'd like you to chime in about that election process in Nima. I'd like you to chime in. What do you think?
Well, Nima County is a difficult place, so I really don't know. I don't know the other candidate. The only person I think I know is Edith, and everybody has his own person he wants. I don't know. I knew she served as superintendent, and she did very well the last time in other elections. But with the issue of top officials getting involved with the process, and all those kind of they have the right under the law, their citizens do. But if the female part about it is something that will also okay, I'm a female, I will support that the gender aspect of it. But Nima County is a tough place. I really don't know what's going on there. I haven't been following it with all my federal cases. I really haven't been following it to the letter. But I know it is in there. I pray that she be strong, that she fight, and we hope that she wins.
The former. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, this conversation continuing to evolve. I mean, do you think it's a sufficient reason, or it should be part of the reasons why a person should be considered as based on their sex or their gender? Why is that? Why should that be a form of consideration when trying to perhaps elect a person for a position? Because others are also arguing on the basis of tribal, others argue. So, do you think sex should be a factor?
You see, I don't know whether Nima County has had a female senator. So and during her term as superintendent, I think she did a lot. Maybe affording an opportunity as senator maybe also help that process. But where somebody thinks because a particular person is senator, and if Prince, we all know Prince Johnson passed, and we think it's for this particular tribe or this particular political institution, then it becomes a problem. Then that brings division in the county. But if they all go as an alliance and push an agenda, it will be a different situation. But where my political party thinks that, and sometimes other female will go against it. I'm not from Nima County, so I don't have any vote there anyway. But I think it's a tough race. She has to be very strong. She's among some guys that have big hands and great support. So we pray and hope that she does. But that's the most I can hope for her. I don't know the other people, so I can't really speak about them. But at least I don't eat it.
But let me ask you this: the current superintendent of Nima County, Miss Maypeg Gongloe, to came up and said that she met with the chiefs and were telling them that they all need to support the candidate that's being supported by the government, Kuba. That if they don't do that, they were not going to put some of them on payroll, and some of them will not get the pay.
What you expect from that superintendent? What you expect? What police say? What you expect on a football ground? Obviously, she will flow that direction. Then they bring the cheese business inside. It's like the elders, and they kind of say, one of the traditional people said, look, we make our country so divided when we come to politics. Why does it have to be what the chiefs say, the elders say? Why the chiefs and the elders themselves can go wrong? If they know how to handle it, let them go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It is something kind of little ABC politics with people.
Especially being the superintendent, that should be pretty much
neutral. Even though we know you won't be, but you can't come forefront and say those kind of things.
Yeah,
you create a vision. What in the event either wins or the other person wins? What phase will you have now? Then you become instead of being ally, now you become enemies.
Exactly.
So people create enemies for themselves before the time reaches. And then at the end of the day, you destroy the county because the good things are supposed to happen. Once you're there, I will not do it. One there, I won't do it. And I won't do that because you want to hide them. You hide a whole county. You hide a whole group of people, and people continue to suffer.
Right. Because, in fact, it had become a whole ethnic thing. The vice president was making comments, that they've had one people from the Monum Bell, from the Gill Bell, to meet somebody else from the Monum Bell, and and then they bring it in the Mandingo, the poor Mandingo poor that got nothing, or the citizens of Nima that were born in Nima, citizen, they are bringing it out again and trying to go after them. I mean, why would people do such a thing in just a small race like that?
We should just see what 2029 gonna look like. But it won't be if you're starting with Nima County like that. You know it's gonna be there. And the present vice president, I'm sure, will want to run in 2029.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like he's already campaigning to be president. I mean, clearly I can say that for free because if you start putting your face on a political signboard for everybody to see, then it doesn't show neutrality. It shows that you are taking side when you should be like the father now in the land. You have now become the bad person that everybody will look at. So be the father when you're supposed to be father and stop being, the child and spoil things.
Exactly. How many you want to chairman?
Oh well, I think generally we many people who are also not from Nimba are concerned about the election in Nimba, not necessarily because of who wins. I mean, ultimately, it becomes a Nimba senator. But I think when the rhetoric of the politics may be concerning because as the former superintendent rhetoric said, it could either give us a window as to what 2029 want to be. Are we going to run a highly, I mean, of course, during the period of political campaign, that's competition of ideas, people have different sides. But when those ideas fall on issues that are sensitive, like tribal and all the things, then it becomes one that becomes difficult to heal after the process over. So I think national leaders who want to get involved in these local elections must play. It's sufficient enough for you to provide resources. I think by the time you support a side by giving them resources alone, that is an advantage as opposed to
Yeah,
actually trying to be the
true,
one to cultivate the message that tend to leave scar. You don't want to leave scar after these kinds of elections. And as you rightly said, it has the propensity to spread out, to the national politics, our way of life. And I think of all the problems Liberia should have, I think the issue of ethnic division and tension should not be one of those things we want to count on our because of course we know what it what it brought to our nation, particularly so in my country up to today they continue to deal with that issue of the different tribes there. Sometimes when you even think about it, the both view and manner of living, yeah, like those are the only two tribes of Nima County, where others minority
right.
tribes. So you need all of your sons and daughters, you need all of your something, and at the level of the national government, its participation in these local elections, I think it should try to maintain the semblance of fear. It will be hard when you choose a side to something, but you can also be too obvious, particularly so in the statements you make that tend to remain long after the election day. So I think so far that's what I would like to say, and we hope that the election in the end remain peaceful. We hope that the Elections Commission, considering that the tension that is evolving is up to task, it should be on a P and Q. It should have everything ready set so that whatever 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever time they should follow the law, follow all the procedure. They should not give reason for anybody to suggest. They should not give reason for any perception because when elections are that close and tension like that, then people look for the very simplest mistake to raise unnecessary tension. So Nima County has evolved as the second largest economy in the country. It's one of those places that its local economy is very is booming. A lot of great things going on. So of course you wouldn't want any situation that will create problem there. Particularly for this one of the first election at also of Prince Johnson, who have always been the one to hold then the glue after every election things and this, but he will still find a way to keep them united. So we don't know what's going to happen, but we hope it goes peaceful and it goes fairly. That the best candidate wins.
But I heard that we had a breaking news today that the election ballot that were being escorted to Nima, the truck broke down in Bakota in Bon County. It
The
broke
best
down.
truck they have.
I mean, it's in the news on front page Africa. They just issued the truck is parked in a place back uptown. So if nothing is done and it gets dark, you know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, so you see,
You know, we,
let me say, let me say, if that is true, was that the best truck they could have found for the ballots to go leave? You see, when big hands start to play in these things, then it becomes a serious situation.
Right.
Moreover, sometimes people defeat themselves too when they start to, jump here, there, and yonder. And with all the political thing going on, you put ballot in a truck that has broken down, and that's the story. The next thing, ballot missing, it will
Yeah.
cause. I think the Nima election, if we don't take that, will be very terrible because
I
some people
agree.
may literally fight
Yeah.
to come out to see how much they can win. But more
Yeah.
besides, it may end up being even physical.
Yeah.
With
I
ballot right now, with ballot boxing right now in the bush.
yeah.
Let's pray for
I
the best.
yeah. So you see, that's exactly what we're saying. We perhaps it was an accident, a coincidence, but you see, like when you have elections that now think that is taking a political or national flavor. Because if you just do a by election, people go in the my candidate, the Madians, you let the people on the basis of who they think can best represent them come up. But now that it has taken a national flavor, different interests and all these kind of things. So yeah, election commission should that
Eh,
those kind of things they should try to avoid. Now what will be the next one? Chuck breakdown. The next one could be poor election workers couldn't get there on
Can be
time.
fun.
We can't get the ballot to the other city or the other town because well, you
Can
don't
get
you
ballot
really
right.
don't want that. You really don't want that. So I
or they
hope
didn't
that
get paid.
yeah,
Yeah.
I hope that I think the election is on Tuesday and today is
Yeah.
Friday. So basically, you only have
You know what?
three.
With the kind of elections, you can't just send a vehicle. I think the vehicles carrying it, they should be sure that vehicle have gone to servicing. Maybe put a
Yeah.
mechanic on it because this is a
Yeah,
serious situation. We take everything lightly in this country until something happens. Like like I always tell people when when you get from your airplane and get down, you say, Lord, I thank you because there's no parking space up there.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to
Yeah.
change tires, nowhere to do fuel,
Right.
nothing. When you're up there, is Lord, I'm coming home, or
Yeah.
Lord, thank you for lending me home.
Right.
So you can just send ballot boxes with one truck. If it breaking down, no backup, no nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we pray for them. Oh.
Well,
uh,
guys, so go ahead, Tommy. You want to say something?
no.
All right. Superintendent Kwan, we thank you for coming on from clarifying this
Yes, sir.
whole social media and news saga that you were being arrested for demolishing land and stuff like that. I'd like you to give your closing in this before we leave, but we appreciate you coming on to clarify exactly what is being reported on social media.
Yeah, okay, so I want to use this medium to also call on the president of Liberia to make sure that we have some land conference or something to be able to resolve these issues and people who have the skills, expertise, and what have you to get involved. I'll tell you something interesting. My uncle on my mother's side lived in Sweden, my late uncle, and his wife is a Swedish woman, a white Swedish woman, and they have been supporting the land authority. There was an occasion with this very land I was telling you about. and was talking because my uncle bought a piece of land here in Marshall that my sister was taking care of. And I was just telling her, oh, I had to go to the court, da 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 da. And she said, oh, the Swedish government is helping the land authority. I said, yes. I said, but she said, how is the situation? I was just explaining my scenario to her, and she wanted to take it as an issue. I said, no, no, no. Please allow us as Liberians to solve this. I mean, I couldn't put my country to that point. That's how much I thought, look, let's not disgrace ourselves before time. If people want to support us, we shouldn't abuse the kind of support that is coming in, but rather people should have system, get computerized thing, document them properly. You will write a letter over there, my dear. If you go in and don't carry your copy, just leave your own. You won't even find it. So with the president involvement, having this land wherever conference, trying to get a fast track court, and lawyers as well should do due diligence before taking up these cases. Check on the record. Tell your client, look, give me a few days or give me a week, let me check and be able to say the truth to them. But instead, people just take case and just come in court. And so I can't even defend the client as they should. Or another thing, allow the individual person who owns the land to even go have the opportunity to take the stand and speak for him or herself.
Yeah. But what do you say to those who I brought and they got land and they don't even know when they come home the land already sold and things like that? What do you say to them?
They just need to find trustworthy people. Like I'm telling you, I'm overwhelmed with family land properties issue just from court. Like I said, my bed is not there, but it's just following up, fighting land criminals. And the criminals who take people property, nobody running after them. They're running after people who win the cases. Why? So I've just prayed that the family will find good people to help them. And if they can, you just have to leave it as is. But you see your family inheritance, you don't want to just throw it away like that. Even
Right.
God himself, on an occasion, if you read the book of Numbers chapter 30, from 50 coming downward, he told the children of Israel, he said, drive out the inhabitants, or else there will be prick in your eyes and thorns in your flesh.
Exactly.
Don't fight for your land. Fight as much as you can. Fight with all your strength, with all your might, if you can. But sometimes it becomes difficult and everybody doesn't have the same strength. And here we are.
Superintendent Guar, strong words. It was great to have you, and I think you should set up a consultancy. I think you would rather do well. Set up a consultancy, and people can reach out to you and get advice, from you and things like that. I think you should do that. Think about setting up an office where people can come directly and talk to you on how they can go getting the land that have been encroached on, and all of that. But Hamid, do you have any closing before we leave? This is a special edition. I got to run, yeah.
No,
So let me just say thank you for. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Oh, I thought you were talking to me.
Okay. Go ahead. I will come later. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah. That even the land authority, should work towards that, having at least community meetings. Because if they come and inform the community, oh, this is wrong, this is that, people will begin to understand. But most of the people don't understand. So we need, like we said, need a conference. We need a government involvement, the courts involvement, the chief justice, the judges. I mean, just everybody. The Ministry of Justice has this, or ADR, Alternative Dispute Resolution. If you don't win a case, how can you rebuy the land and all of those things? Once we can put that in place, I think it will help us a long way. But the people need to be educated. Lack of knowledge, the people are perishing by the day.
Awesome. Thank you, Superintendent Paul. Hamid, any closing word?
Well, I think I agree with you. She could serve as a serious help to this process, and a lot of people involved in these landings, they don't even know where the land authority is located. They don't even know. I don't know whether they have a website. No information. Information is
They are in the old complex building now.
That's the first step towards trying to find solution, at least the land authority. So I think we need to have a voluntary group that will provide these things, for the sake of our country. So I think it's something you should think about it.
I think you'll do very well. Yeah.
It was nice having you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you too.
Your presence threw highlight on the whole issue, so it was good to have you.
Thank you very much.
And Have a great resurrection week.
Oh yeah.
Sunday.
Thank
I'm running out there to pop into my church service as well, and then but have a great resurrection week to all our Christian brothers and sisters. Happy Easter. Brother Superintendent, God bless you. We'll bring you back on so we can talk about not now we talk about the land. The next thing we're going to bring you back on to talk about the contractor then who they hired to build on these land. Did a charge
Oh,
sometimes 2 time, you know.
besides that, your cement will bury in the sand. By the time you leave the internet, they come and pick you up.
You know, so we gotta talk about that. You know, I got a big contract going up, supposed to go in Liberia, but I'm so scared. I don't know who to trust to build the place. I really don't. I really don't. You
Anyway,
know,
we are here to help as many people as we can. You know.
we will. I'll definitely reach out to you. I'll talk to Grace, Grace Guar, and I will get your number and I'll reach out to you because I mean sometimes people want to help people in the country, you building facility to help other people, but you don't want people just they tell you, hey, we charge you this amount. Then after 6 months, they say, oh, we didn't do the drawing too good. We need to ask them.
And the full money.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right, but you take care, guys. You have a great weekend. We'll be in touch, and God bless.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right. Bye.